Hi, my friend. It's Pat Sloan here for my Monday night video called the Fireside Chat. We are here on the A side of my desk and I have tons of stuff to chat about. So let's first start with our March block a day hope. There it is. I have all the blocks made. I don't have the last two rows sewn together, but I have them all made and they're now in order because I wanted to get them in order because I had to take several of them out because I had the centers were the same, or they had a clump of the same fabric, like three of them all had that same fabric somewhere in it, and I'm like, no, they need to be separated. So I had to do too much unpicking. So I decided I would get the rest of the blocks made, I would lay them up here, and then over this week I will get them sewn together and have the top done. Now I did go rooting around to see what I had. Do I want a border on it? I don't think it really needs a border. I might do something with teal, but I pulled this rose fabric out. There you can see it. And I thought, oh, that's really pretty, but not for this quilt. It could go on the back because I actually had bought it for another project. And it didn't, it didn't work for the other project. I had to get the same fabric but with different color dots on it for the other project. Anyway, so that's a no. That's not going to go in there. But I did think, well, what about my Morrison Park? There's some of that maybe that would be kind of cool on the edge if I did not something big, but just something small. You know, like, now that's about 5 or 4 inches, but I think that's a little bit too big. But I just like that. I like it. I'm probably not going to do it. I'm probably going to go find some teal, but I might back it in that. That is probably what I will do with that Morrison Park, which is the main floral. There you go. But it does look good on the border. I could do a little inner border of teal or black, and then put this, but not real big. Like it could even be just like maybe like a 3-inch, like that, all the way around, and then bind it again in either teal or black. So that's also an option if I want it a little bit bigger. But I am super, super happy. There we go, all the way up. Super happy with how it turned out. It just was it's so fun to use all those fabrics. So I hope that I know a lot of you have gotten your hope blocks all done, and you have tops. Some of you, I think, even quilted them because you just got excited and just kept sewing, which is the way it goes sometimes. Now, I did get a question while making this that I thought was interesting, because just because I have done this for years as a quilter and because it is my business doesn't mean that I don't learn things, and it doesn't mean that I do everything in the best possible way. So sometimes when you ask me a question, it makes me think, well, why am I doing it like that? Because I will ask you the same thing. If you're doing something and I think, well, why are you doing it like that? Have you thought about doing it another way? When you ask me, I have the same thought occasionally. But like you, sometimes I might just be, well, because I do. But when I'm doing the squares, here, let me just grab one. When we're doing these sew and flip corners, some of you, when you do these, you will then go and take the time to sew the other seam to get these, half square triangles done, so they would actually be seamed already. You will sew them at the same time. I have never done that, mostly because I don't want to take the time to go do 4 more seams or 8 more seams, depending on how many there are. So I just save these off and I leave them on top of you can see them. I leave them on top of the sewing machine and I use them to start and stop. And then I had mentioned, well, I would just take all these finished ones, all of these finished ones, and toss them in a box, and at some point I would trim them down, and then I would, eventually do something with them. Well, I had a question that says, well, why do you save them? Why don't you just trim them as you go? Like in the case if I was making just this one block, there would just be 4 to trim, 4 to press open, and they would be done. And I thought, well, why don't I do that? So I just haven't. So I thought I would try it. I would go through, but I sort of did a lot of these, so I ended up with a large group not just 4. You know, there's a large group, and then I have now a stack of them already ready to press open that I haven't pressed open yet. So, but it's progress. Those are all ready to go. And I actually just thought of a design for using these that I may or may not do, but it actually got me kind of excited. But to trim them, I thought I would show you. So I have got my Olfa Pink mat. If you didn't know, they make this nice size 18 by 12 pink and turquoise mats. And I'm using the Quilt in a Day trimming ruler. And these are going to be 1.5 inch, so that when I press them open, they're 1.5, and they will finish to 1 inch. So on your ruler, you will see there's the 1.5. See the 1.5 mark? That goes on the line. So you want to always put your mark on the line, and on the opposite side, they've got whole numbers, you know, so that would finish to 1/2 inch. Oh, that's too tiny. So 1.5 finishes to a 1 inch square in the quilt. So I would, you know, trim both sides with my nice sharp endurance blade in the Olfa cutter. And now I will flip it. This was a tip one of you gave me, to turn it around and put the line on here, and then you can trim off these little dog ears, which I find is very helpful for patchwork with small pieces, particularly because they tend to get sucked down in your machine too quickly. So now this will get pressed open to make a 1 inch square, but at the moment now it will go in this stack. So now I have this stack of ready to press, I have this stack ready to trim, and I still have this stack to sew. Now I also have more ready to trim, but I'm working on them. I decided to get them out and just do a handful at a time to get ahead, particularly since now I have a bit of a thought of what to do with these that I like. So I thought, yes, yes, yes. That is a really fun little side adventure I had with one of your questions. So when you read and somebody has a question or makes a comment, sometimes it's nice to just explore that and see, well, where does that go? Where does that take me? Okay, speaking of cut off things, I got some little cards with wonderful little gifts in them. This one is from Deb, and Deb sent me a bunch of edges to put in my other project, which I know what block I want to do with the salvages. I just need to buy some solid red fabric, or get some, you know, get that yardage of it, so I can start working on these. But this one had a saying on it from Lou Dobbs. I'm sorry, U Downs. Sorry, U Downs. Something about an old-fashioned Christmas is hard to forget. Something about old-fashioned Christmas is hard to forget. So I love that some of the designers put little sayings. I put little sayings on the edges of mine, and that's going to make it really special. So thank you, Deb. And then Debbie sent, look at this gorgeous card. I think that is probably a batik or some sort of resist dyed fabric. And she sent me some yummy hand lotion. This is wonderful and super cute. It came on St. Patrick's Day, but it came after I'd already done the video, so there that came. And then she sent me a little saying about being a tough cookie, which I thought was super sweet. Thank you, my friends. Mwah. All right, I have got a project that was done quite a while ago. I don't know whether I just got mixed up on the timing, or I think some of the fabric may have taken a while to come in to the Fat Quarter Shop that they did their projects in. But they put out a new pattern called Lollies that uses a layer cake. And I used the, I forget, I'll link you to it. I'll write it up here. I don't remember which layer cake. It's still available, but I don't remember what the name of it is. Daybreak. There, I remembered it. It's Daybreak. So this is the Lollies quilt. It is so nice. It's a free pattern from the Fat Quarter Shop. Look. I'll stand back and hold it up. There you go. This was so awesome, this design, and it was supposed to come out quite a long time ago, so I was at the point where I couldn't sew, but I knew this was coming up because of my broken wrists. I couldn't sew, and my friend Sue made this one for me, and she said it was a lot of fun to make, you know, cutting up those layer cakes to get this design. And then now I have to show you the quilting because Cindy and Dennis did these amazing roses. Look at that. And they used sort of a teal, like a medium teal, so that it shows up on the white. The roses just make it. It is yummy, yummy, yummy. I gotta hang it up somewhere. I used an older fabric I had of yellow for the binding. But there you go. Daybreak fabric for the Lollies quilt. And you can download this at my website today and also in the description box below the video here. And while you're in the description box, click the, down here, click the subscribe for me and hit the like button if you are enjoying my videos. Do you love those roses? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you love the roses as much as I love them. Oh my goodness. Yes. Flowers, 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 flowers. I'm starting to feel a little, you know, ready to think about that. I've done a little cruising of a few groups I'm on Facebook of gardening groups, you know, outdoor gardening. And I've been watching a few videos of gardening. My garden is very simplistic right now. I used to have it pretty, you know, I used to have more stuff, but because of all the travel we did for 20 years, I just couldn't maintain it. So we had cut it way back. So now I'm a little rusty is basically what it is. And I need to sort of think through, well, what do I have? And where would I like to look out the window and see flowers? You know, that kind of a thing. So I need to get focusing on that, but I'm feeling it. It's cold here for March, but it's sunny and feels like spring. It just feels like it's coming, it's coming. All right, another project we did. World Peace. We all sewed for World Peace on Saturday and Sunday. You probably sewed for 2 days like I did. I sewed for 2 days. And here's my World Peace done with the Easter egg hunt fabric. Isn't that darling? Oh my gosh. I love it. Love, love, love it. This purpley blue, like periwinkle, I guess you might call it, just makes my heart happy. It was the right shade, and I can't believe that I actually had it. I had probably 1.5 yards of it, so that was great. You know, I need to get a little bit more organized on my solids though, because I have never marked them, which is a problem, because when you want to go get more of the same color, I don't have it marked, and I have to go either hunt up a receipt or I have to go color matching. And so let me just show you a couple tools for color matching that you might find useful. One is no longer available. Maybe you'll find one on Etsy or eBay or something, but it came out years ago. But there's a new tool that is fabulous. Years ago, Moda put out for their, this is just for their solids. So every manufacturer has something different. I just happen to have the Moda one. So they had these solids, which were like paint cards. So they put, whoops. So they put the, they put the fabric right on here, and then on the back they put all the details, and it was just sort of like you would get for a paint card. Now they're not, they're backed on something, which means, you know, the color is pretty solid against that white background, and these are great, but they don't make those anymore. But what they did do is they came out with this panel that's brand new, and I showed you the other day, and I want to show you how I match the color to the panel, because a few people are like, oh, maybe it won't match. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, ye of little faith. So here's the color panel that shows all of their solids. So I have this thing that is, I think it's kind of a more purpley blue. So I went looking along here. You've got the blues and the purples. So let's take a look down here, and I will show you what I found. So, you know, just going along the blues, I was pretty sure it was probably more in the purple zone, because, you know, even matching, here, let me just get you a little closer. So matching along here, these, it would definitely look more purple when I put them against those, but it was definitely not these purples, you know. But right here, whoops, right here in the purple zone is this thing that looks kind of blue. Ta-da! And that is what it is. This is number 32, baby blue, which is kind of a purpley blue. And it matches really, really well to this, which I understand is these are digital printed. And so digital printing is amazing. There is nothing wrong with digital printing. It is vibrant and wonderful. You know, it is a different process, but they are color matching super good. At least that baby blue is, and that's a really odd color. It is not your normal color, and purples are not always the easiest thing, particularly if you're doing photography. Purples are hard. They just don't come out nice. But that's another story. So I've linked you to that color and the Easter egg hunt and the panel. So I think you all should get a panel because they are so useful. And what's nice is this does not take up much room. This is, you know, you just keep it in. I even think you could cut it into units and put it in a binder if you wanted to be that, you know, organized. But you could just keep it in a special spot and don't lose it. Now you can make a quilt for your room, but a lot of us don't have space and want to hang this. I mean, I want to use it as a tool, so I need to put it with my tools. So it'll probably end up going down in the red bins down there, because that is where I mentally think of tools, or here in my koala table. Right under here are drawers for this side of the table. And so that is where I could also put it. Those are the two places where I keep tools. Because when you go to store something, you need to put it where your brain is going to be looking for it. So to me, this is a tool, so I don't really want to put it in with my fabric because I'm not necessarily going to remember that that's where it is. Alrighty. And guess what? I hung up my flower quilt. Let me move over. I'll put a picture up here of my flower quilt hanging in the dining room. So excited. It looks fabulous. It fills up that space. It just feels like spring, makes me so happy. It's like, oh, so excited to have that done. Just the flowers are center, you know, patchwork is a pattern for the button club, and I'll link that below. The border I just did, you know, as I kind of went along. You know, I don't have any directions for that. Maybe someday I'll write some directions for that. But there's a long list of things that's not at the top. But, you know, you never know. One day I might just sit down and think about that. So what have you hung up lately in your house? Have you put a new quilt? Have you changed things out? You know, it's really nice to do that. I feel like fresh and rejuvenated every time I switch everything out. And one of the things I need to do is I want to sort my quilts as to some of the groupings, like the things that I group and put up for Halloween and things like I put up for St. Patrick's Day, for spring. You know, all the blue quilts that I had up, I want to get those in groupings so that when I change them out, I can just sort of go and get that grouping and then maybe add in something new, or, you know, change something out depending on what's been going on, what I've made. So I've been looking the past couple of days. I have been working on things for future. We will do a book tour for my new book. That'll be the first 2 weeks in June. So I've been talking, you know, emailing with the guest designers that will be showcasing something from my book, and I've got a project page working on that to get it up there with all the people's links. And so that's been some of the behind the scenes things I've been doing. Then I was doing all the designs for the next book. I had to do all of the designs, and then I had to search for all the fabric so that it made a cohesive book. And I was been working on that. So and then that all has to get started. So April for me will be a bit, will be a lot of behind the scenes in April. We might have to do lots of Q&A questions in April. That's because I have to write all the patterns, and Melanie's going to help me, and we're going to make all the projects. So yeah, but my brain is always thinking too, thinking about what else do I see out there that would be fun to make for all of us? And I saw this, and so I'm going to ask if this interests you. So you want to tell me that. It is a pattern by my good friend Joanna Figueroa of Free Tree Quilts. So this is a little, wall hanging that is, it's charm pack friendly. It's charm pack friendly, and it's 23 by 29, which is just a great size for decorating with, or you could have a baby quilt made with this. But I think it's super darling, and I love that little scallopy border on it. So if you are interested in doing something like this, let me know in the comments. It would probably be late summer, I'm thinking. Who knows? Who knows? It's not that big, so it would not, famous last words, it wouldn't take that long. My famous last words. Okay, I also was looking at did I do anything else? No, so I didn't. I've been doing these other projects, and I have not gotten to the bindings. So I still have for this month 5 things that I just will not get 5 things done. So I'm going to try for at least 1 or 2 bindings. So that is refreshing my goal, because I can do bindings later in the evening as long as I've got the quilt trimmed and the bindings. Even I can make bindings later in the evening. It's not mentally taxing. I don't have to focus and concentrate and be sure I'm doing it right. So I need to get 2 of those going, because it doesn't happen if it doesn't get going. It's like, you could think about it all you want, but you got to put it in motion. I've even had the quilt sitting in the room here, and I've got a bolt of the teal for the binding of the Florida quilt. I just need to cut it. So tonight, after the video airs and we watch it together, I will cut binding for the Florida quilt. So there you go. Commitments, taking commitments. All right, I had a question out there, which this is another one for you to answer, because I don't know. And I thought, well, I'm going to ask here, and then let me just ask first, and then let's just talk about this a little bit. So Joyce asked a while ago, so sorry Joyce, it's taken me a little while, but Joyce asked, are there places that will take just finished quilt tops and then quilt them for charity? Because so are there places that take finished quilt tops to quilt for charity? Because we as quilt makers often make a lot of tops. You make the tops, and then you're like, okay, I'm done. I got the satisfaction out of it. That was what I wanted to do. I loved doing it. It was, super exciting and fun, and I got the feel of the fabric and cut it up and put it together, and I love the design. But I'm not really going to quilt it myself. I maybe don't have the funds to send them away, so they'll just, stack. So a lot of us have tops. We have a stack of tops. And some of them you may just be like, okay, I don't really need to keep that top. I don't personally have somebody to give it to. I've given everybody everything. So giving them to charity is an awesome idea. I know that there are some charities that have very specific things, like Quilts of Valor is very specific, but you don't always want to do things specifically. You just want to make whatever, like maybe you want to make the Lollies, quilt. And then maybe after it's done, you just have the top, and you're like, okay, that was fun. I had fun. It was great. Now I just would like to send this to somebody else, and they can quilt it and give it away. So where can we do that? I have never done that research, and so it's something that I think would be a useful thing for me to create a page on my website. And so if we can get some ideas of places that take quilt tops for charity, I will build a list, and then you can always go and reference it. I just think that making is the core of what so many of us are, and that giving that top, being able to have the top and some other organization benefit from it, is a marvelous partnership. It's a great partnership for our creativity and for helping out an organization. You might have backing you could send along, whatever the requirements are. I'm sure every organization will be different, but I don't know who those people are that are quilting the things that you might send. So let's get a conversation going on that. And I will roll back, you know, a few days from now. I'll go put it in my Facebook group. I'll put the question at my website if you're not in Facebook, and get this conversation going about where you might be able to, you know, send quilt tops. So if that excites you, the thought of being able to do that, it does me. I think that it's, I would like to know where that is. You know, occasionally I've had a person, you know, or two that I've sent things to, like we did the homes that were on fire, that burnt in the fires. And prior, I've sent them to different, you know, people that I know, like a guild that will quilt them. But I'd like to know, like, an organization. Okay, my friend, this is so fun on Monday nights when we have the premiere and you're all here and we get to chat. You know, for about, we all chat for about 25 minutes beforehand, and a lot of you know each other. There's usually over 1,000 people from around the world who are chatting. So if you've never experienced that, be sure you join next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern to get in on the chat. Links are down below. Thank you for using them to support our small family business. Greg and I thank you so much. I love you. Mwah. See you online.